Oh, hello strangers, it's Mini Trigger, and welcome to my beginner's guide. So I'm going to build this guide around your first character. I'm going to assume you have not played Black Desert Online before, and you want to understand the basic mechanics and layout of BDO. So let's go over what we're going to cover in this guide. There are 6 topics I'll be focusing on, and what I think new players should do when they first start out. So the first one is, what is Black Desert Online? We'll be going through the starting tutorial and getting to your first major town, the Black Spirit main quest, combat and skills, explaining the UI layout, and I'll touch a bit on life skills. So let's start off with what is BDO. So Black Desert Online is an MMO RPG, or as we say, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game with some sandbox aspects to it. So it was created by Pearl Abyss and released in Korea in 2014, Japan and Russia in 2015, and finally North America and Europe in 2016. So BDO is a free roam PvM PvP skilling sort of game. It involves a lot of grinding and a lot of AFK, depending on what playstyle you prefer. So no matter what your playstyle is, we all have to start a new character. Choosing a class is mainly important depending on what kind of combat you want. So you can choose a warrior for close-up personal swords and shields, from rangers and sorceresses who attack at longer distances. Class selection is heavily dependent on what you prefer, but for this tutorial I've decided to become a sorceress. After you have made your decision, click creation and a customization menu will show up next. As you see here, you have horoscope, customize, weather, and character action. Everything in this is cosmetic excluding horoscope. Depending on what horoscope you choose, it can affect how easy or hard it can be to interact with NPCs depending on their horoscope, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'll also briefly mention the beauty album. This is where users can customize the look of their character and upload it for public use. So either you enjoy the in-depth customization in BDO, or you just grab one off the beauty album and get right into the game. Name your character, click creation complete, and your first character has been made. When you first load in, there will be a cutscene, and then you'll be greeted by the Black Spirit in the small town of Olvia. The Black Spirit is your guide, and I'd say he's pretty important to the newcomers trying to understand the game. So after following some basic movement tutorials, learning to sprint, placing waypoints, using potions, and even basic quest and combat guides, you'll be ready to start killing your first mobs. To get to this point, just follow the Black Spirit. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes, and he will eventually give you a quest called Noisy Grass Beetles. At this point, we will take a break from progress and go over the UI, or user interface. So the user interface may seem very confusing at first, but I'm here to help you. This guide is focused on just the basics. I will not get too into depth for any of these options. Alright, so let's hop into Photoshop real quick, and I'm going to go over the UI. So here you have your character level, your combat skills, your energy, and your contribution points. Under that you have the residences you own, your worker list, and your pets you own. We'll hop under here. This is your chat menu. Mine may look a bit different because I have edited my UI. But we'll move on to this. This is your hotbar menu. These are all your skills you can do, or if you prefer, you can do them using WASD and your special moves. Or above that, we have your stamina bar, and then above that, we have everything on your character. So this is your HP, your mana, your character name, your family name, and then your guild name. To the right of that, we have the mini-map. So the mini-map will tell you knowledgeable NPCs, waypoints to your quests, and enemies in your area. And then we have your active quest menu. So these are all your current active quests. And then in the upper right, this little NPC button is very important. So clicking on this will open a list that shows you useful NPCs. So if you can't find the nearest marketplace or stable, this can be very helpful to players who are unknown to the world. Alright, so that was just a quick run through of the basic UI. Don't worry if you don't quite get what I said. The guide is supposed to give you the basics of BDO. I'm not here to overwhelm you and confuse you. As you progress further into the game, different guides will become more relevant depending on what play style you prefer in BDO. This guide is just focused on your first day or two and understanding the game. So I'm just going to go over the escape menu real quick. So this menu will allow you to access almost everything in BDO, from the marketplace to dyeing your costumes. Majority of the menus you open will be opened through escape. I will not be going through these because many of them are irrelevant to the guide or self-explanatory or just goes a bit too much in depth. Alright, so we're going to move on to combat. So combat may seem daunting, but don't be discouraged. Keys such as Q, E, F, Z, V, and X are all special moves. Using these keys with movements such as WASD or left and right click can allow you to perform special attacks or defensive maneuvers. This is dependent on your class. I will not explain advanced combat and action cancellation, for this is just for starting players. My advice, just find a set of moves and combos that you like until you have a better understanding for your class. So in combat, you have combat points, and these can be earned by slaying monsters or completing certain quests, and then they could grant you points. These points are spent on skills to improve your damage and learn new combos. So skill points can be reset until level 56, so don't worry about wasting skill points at the start. If you don't like your skill setup, you can change it an unlimited amount of times before you hit 56. Once you hit 56, your skills are locked in. In that time, you have more than enough combat to figure out what your favorite combos are and upgrading them to be efficient and deadly. Alright, so let's get into the Black Spirit. So the Black Spirit is a perfect starting point to new players. He has a Black Spirit questline, which is a main questline in BDO, and in my opinion, following the main storyline for your first character is one of the best things you could do for yourself. Although you have the freedom to go do whatever you want when you start, he will give you guidance to where you need to go to unlock most major starting towns and cities as you play. Following the questline will also help you build contribution points and energy, which plays a key role later on in Black Desert. All that being said, the Black Spirit is a great starting guide, and I definitely recommend following his questlines. So let's focus on getting to Valia. So Valia is the first major town in BDO, excluding the starting town Olvia. So getting here is pretty simple. Previously I was talking about the Black Spirit, and if you follow his quest, about an hour into gameplay and 20 quests later, you will finally reach Valia. So Valia is important because you're able to start the majority of life skills here. You will also acquire your first mount, which is a donkey. One thing I do recommend is selling your donkey and buying a horse from the stable keeper. By this time, you should have enough money to afford a basic one, and then later on, you could start taming and breeding to upgrade your mount. Alright, so let's get into the last part of the guide. So in BDO, there's life skills and combat skills. So the life skill is every profession. From gathering to fishing, these can be great ways to make some starting cash, and even better as you increase your max energy. This will allow you to gather more ingredients, which in turn makes you more money. If you're interested in an energy guide, the link will be in the description below. So in conclusion, BDO is a big game, and to newcomers, it can be very overwhelming. But as you go and play and pick up little things and learn even more, the game will get easier and easier. BDO does have a learning curve, but once you get past it, you will learn to love the game. Well, I hope you picked up some points from this guide to help you understand the game more. That's it for me, guys. I'll have another guide out soon. Bye, strangers.